The car thief in front of us first makes a small hole in a tennis ball. Then he puts the hole tightly to the door keyhole of the car and hits the tennis ball hard. The high-pressure air produced in the tennis ball quickly opens the car lock open. Using this method, Ciro, who lives in Argentina, has successfully entered hundreds of private cars. Today, Ciro plans to do it again. After using the old trick to get in, he unscrews the middle control screen in the car, throwing it into the backpack and then trying to find anything else in the car. Unfortunately, the owner does not store valuable items in the car. Ciro is very unhappy about it, so he climbs into the back seat and pees as a punishment for the car owner. After finish, Ciro picks up his backpack and is ready to leave. Unfortunately, the driver's door is automatically locked somehow. The other 3 doors are also locked. Ciro then tries to kick the window with his feet, but the window glass seems to be still. Fortunately, Ciro finds a toolbox on the car. He quickly takes out a wrench and tries to smash the window glasses. However, it's still in vain. Are the glasses bulletproof? With no choices, Ciro tries to take off the plastic shell on the driver door, trying to open it manually. Unexpectedly, when he puts his hand into the door, not only does he not touch the door lock, but is hurt by the sharp door panel. Ciro has to try to smash the door using the wrench. But soon, he finds out. The door of the car is transformed. It is covered with a thick steel plate. It could not be smashed easily. Not only that, but the floor and roof of the car are also covered with heavy steel plates. What kind of psycho owner makes his car strong like a tank? Ciro doesn't have time to think about that. He gets irritated, so that he takes out his gun and shoots the windshield. Unexpectedly, the glass doesn't break, but Ciro screams out loud. It turns out that the car is equipped with bulletproof glasses, so that the bullet bounces back after hitting the glass and ends up in Ciro's thigh. Looking at his injured leg, Ciro is desperate. What happened to the car? Is the car owner the president of Argentina? Why would someone transform this car to be so robust? Ciro doesn't get the chance to think. He quickly takes off his t-shirt and bandages his bleeding leg. At this time, a woman outside happens to stop by the car and starts to make up in front of the window glass. Ciro doesn't care about his identity as a thief and desperately shouts to the woman for help. However, the woman outside can neither hear his voice nor see the situation in the car. She leaves without looking back after finishing the makeup. After the woman left, Ciro finally remembers that he is carrying his phone with him. He hurriedly takes out his phone and is ready to call his friend for help. But the tragedy is that the phone doesn't put through, and the phone is automatically turned off due to low battery. After so many useless attempts, Ciro is both hungry and thirsty. He takes out a half-bottle Coke in his backpack and drinks it bottom up. Then he completely gives up and just sits in the back of the car, waiting for the car owner to catch red-handed. But before the car owner comes, Ciro falls asleep. When Ciro wakes up, the car owner still hasn't come to pick up the car, as if he forgets this car by the road. Ciro, who is so hungry and thirsty, has to lick the dew on the car window as his breakfast. In the midst of all the boredom, he reinstalls back the middle control screen that he took off yesterday. Then he chooses a few songs on it and listens to them with pleasure. The melodious music makes Ciro feel that he has the power again, so he picks up the wrench again to smash the door. As the sun is shining, the temperature in the car is getting hot. Ciro fails to smash the door, but almost exhausts himself. At this time, the car Bluetooth phone suddenly rings. There comes a man's voice. The man's name is Enrique. He is a doctor and the owner of the car. Dr. Enrique says that his car has been stolen 28 times before, but the local police has never caught the thief, which makes him very angry. So he transformed his car into a small fortress in a fit of anger, hoping to punish the thief who steals the car this way. According to the doctor, his car has not only installed an unbreakable super thick steel plate and bulletproof glass, but also the soundproofing, anti-shaking, and anti-peeping system as well. To make it simple, Ciro is trapped in it now, and he cannot get out no matter what. People outside can't hear or see through what happens inside the car. In addition, he can also control the car remotely. After hearing this, Ciro is full of rage. He first curses Enrique's family, then he claims that he would kill them after he escapes. In Ciro's cursing, Dr. Enrique hangs up the phone. When Ciro calms down, he immediately regrets what he just said. The air conditioner is somehow turned on. Ciro suddenly feels a sense of relief. It seems that forces work better than soft approaches to the doctor. However, Ciro does not feel happy for too long before he finds out something is wrong. The temperature in the car is still falling rapidly. Even Ciro feels cool already. On the bright side, the gunshot on his leg is no longer bleeding. He hurriedly takes off the t-shirt and puts it on. Then he turns out a few posters and blocks all the air vents. He soon finds out that doesn't help. When he is about to freeze to a hard ice stick, Enrique finally turns off the air conditioning in the car and calls in again. This time, Ciro has learned the lesson and dare not to swear the doctor anymore. Dr. Enrique then asks him a strange question. If your son committed the crime of stealing, what would you do? After asking the question, Dr. Enrique promises that if Ciro answers correctly, he will get some water for drinking. Ciro pretends that he is smart and acts like he takes the question seriously. If he finds his son stealing, he would beat him up first, and then turn him into the police station. Ciro believes the answer is impeccable and full of positive energy. Unexpectedly, Enrique is not satisfied with his answer. He accuses Ciro of not understanding the essence of the problem. In Doctor's opinion, as a child's father, if the child makes a mistake, the father should first reflect himself. Hearing Doctor's comment, Ciro soon loses patience. He loses his mind again and begins to threaten him to give him water as soon as possible. But Enrique ignores Ciro's request and hangs up the phone again. Ciro is still trapped in the car, suffering from thirst and hunger. At this time, a police officer walks to the front of the car. Ciro seems to see a life-saving straw. He uses all his strength, screaming while hitting the window, but the car still doesn't move. Ciro wonders which car repair shop Enrique has his car transformed. The police officer walks around the car and does not find any abnormalities in the car, just finds that the car glass has some problems. After writing a ticket for the glass of the car, the police officer turns around and leaves the scene. Not long after, the doctor calls again. This time, he asks Ciro to give his name and ID in exchange for water. Ciro has to tell the truth. Under the guidance of Enrique, he finds a water pipe in an interlayer from the back of the car, and then fills up half a bottle from the water pipe with the Coke bottle. Although this fluid seems to be poisonous, Ciro still drinks it without thinking. After drinking the half bottle of fluid, Ciro survives another night. However, the next day when he wakes up, he finds that his condition is getting worse. In addition to the hunger that has not been quenched for more than 40 hours, he also has a high fever because of the gunshot and the infection. It seems that he is really going to die in this car. Just as Ciro is gradually in despair, Dr. Enrique calls for the fourth time. This time, Dr. Enrique does not ask Ciro for anything, but speak of his own experience. It turns out that the doctor was born in a middle-class family. He remembers very clearly that when he was very young, Argentina's public security was pretty good. But in recent years, the crime rate in this country has risen rapidly. 4 years ago, when he was having a meal in a restaurant, he encountered an armed robbery. The robber not only took all the money, but also injured an old man. 2 years ago, 3 bandits broke into Dr. Enrique's parents' home. After abducting all the valuables, they also beated his parents up. A year ago, Dr. Enrique's daughter and son-in-law also got robbed. All their savings were gone. In other words, every relative of the doctor has been either robbed or stolen. He can't figure out how Argentina has become like this. Where is the future of this country? Not long ago, Enrique was diagnosed with cancer. Before he died, his last wish was to give criminals like Ciro a true punishment. So he modified his own private car. After hearing what he said, Ciro is in full despair. It seems that this old man will not let him go. After hanging up the phone, Ciro starts eating a book to keep himself alive. He takes off a few pieces of paper and swallows them, then he also drinks his urine. But he barely regains some strength. At this time, he sees another thief outside. The thief is obviously planning to target this car. Ciro's heart is filled with hope again. Unexpectedly, the thief has not even opened the car lock. Suddenly, few enthusiastic citizens rush up to subdue him and send him to the nearby police station. The helpless Ciro could only stay in the car for another night. The next morning, Dr. Enrique calls for the 5th time. Ciro, with a weak voice, begs him to let him go, otherwise he would really die. But he still refuses to let him go. He only reminds Ciro that there is a piece of chocolate under the brake pedal. Ciro regains a little strength after eating the chocolate. He then picks up the wrench again and keeps knocking on the car door. With persistence, he finally knocks out of a small hole. Ciro then shouts out for help. Unfortunately, the hole is too small. What's worse, Ciro has already exhausted all his strength and could not expand the hole. At this time, Enrique calls again. He claims that he has found Ciro's address through his name and ID number. What surprised him is that Ciro has a gentle and beautiful wife and a cute son. What surprised him even more is that Ciro was a regular at the juvenile detention center since he was a child. He basically lives on stealing. He even committed a felony of murder and robbery. If it weren't for the Argentine police not doing anything, Ciro would have been convicted of the crime. In his opinion, criminals like Ciro don't deserve such a beautiful family. So when the doctor leaves, he gives Ciro's wife and son $100,000 in the name of lottery. With this money, Even if Ciro died, his wife and son would be safe and sound. Hearing this, Ciro is completely panicked. He cries and begs him to let him go, and also swears that he would change in the future. But Enrique still ignores him and hangs up the phone. That night, Ciro, in despair, keeps pressing the start button in the car, fantasizing that a miracle could happen. Unexpectedly, the car is actually started. It's just that the gear handle is stuck and can only put into reverse mode. Ciro targets a street light pole, then he floors the gas and hits it with full speed. The crash causes the windshield loose. Ciro uses all his strength to kick off the glass and finally escapes. After escaping, he comes to a nearby hamburger shop and starts to eat hamburgers without paying. At this time, a security guard reminds Ciro that you should pay first and then take the meal. But Ciro takes out his gun from his pocket and shoots the security guard directly. The scene suddenly wakes Ciro up. It turns out that it was just a bad dream. He is still trapped in the car. Until now, Ciro finally admits that he is a bad person. Otherwise, how could he kill people even in a dream? In despair, he pulls out his pistol and wants to kill himself. Who knows, the pistol suddenly stuck. Ciro then loses the courage to commit suicide again. He sits on the passenger seat and waits hopelessly. At this time, Dr. Enrique finally appears. He looks like in his 50s, wearing a white surgical uniform as if he just finished an operation. After opening the car door, he takes Ciro's pistol away. Seeing that Ciro is already weak, he then puts down his guard, throwing the pistol on the control panel and start to help his injuries. It seems that he does not plan to kill Ciro right away. After processing the gunshot for Ciro, his phone suddenly rings. While he is answering the phone, Ciro grabs the pistol and shoots Enrique without hesitation. Then he opens the car door and runs off. But due to his physical condition, Ciro doesn't go far and is caught up by Enrique. The pistol is also taken away. It turns out that the bullet only scratched his face. Just when Dr. Enrique is about to drag Ciro back into the car, a passerby police officer stops them. Seeing that Enrique has a gun in his hand, she mistakes him as a kidnapper. The police points the gun to the doctor and calls for help on radio. A few minutes late, more people gather at the scene. In addition to the police enforcement, various media and people also come to help. Enrique takes Ciro in front of everyone, explaining the whole story and mocking the local police for their incompetence and irresponsibility. Finally, he wants everyone to vote. Let everyone decide whether to hand Ciro over to the police or to be executed on the spot. Most of the people present have been robbed before. Therefore, the crowd demands that the doctor kills the thief. The situation is getting more chaotic. Then the police negotiator finally arrives. The negotiator understands the reason and the situation, eventually convinces Enrique to release Ciro. But the doctor does not drop the gun after. Instead, he expresses a strange smile and gets into his car. Then, he reaches out his hand out of the window and puts his phone on the top of the car. The phone shows a 20-second countdown. The negotiator realizes that this might be a bomb countdown. He shouts loudly to let everyone evacuate. Then Enrique's car explodes violently. After being diagnosed with cancer, Enrique modified his car, hoping to catch a thief and attract attention of the public, hoping to awaken the conscience of both the police and the society. Okay, that's today's movie. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.